Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming you all to International Affairs. This is, of course, broadcasting live from the Dhaka's SATV's Gulshan studio. My name is Shamsuddin Panthu, your host of the program today. And alongside in the studio, we have Major Dr. Khosrow Samad, a doctor of medicine and pharmacology. I welcome you onto the program once more. It's very good to see you here, sir. Alongside, we have Norman Floyd Barnes, our geopolitical correspondent from Washington, District of Columbia. I want to begin with Norman, but before I do so, let me give you the top breaking stories from around the globe. Saif al-Islam Gaddafi has been killed and murdered in his residence in Libya. Of course, he is the son of late dictator Muammar Gaddafi. Alongside, the U.S. government has passed the bill and is now set to reopen the government. Donald J. Trump is ready to sign on these documents. Alongside, there is some important news coming out of the Middle East. The U.S. has intercepted an Iranian drone which was shot down in the Arabian Sea late yesterday as it approached the American carrier. I believe it was on some kind of reconnaissance mission. I want to begin with Norman Floyd Barnes. What are the latest updates from your desk in Washington, D.C.?
Greetings from Washington, D.C. this morning. Yes, the U.S. government is officially open. The president signed a bill yesterday stating that the government is open with one exception. The issue regarding the Department of Homeland Security has funding only for 2 weeks. During this period of time, Congress and lawyers will discuss how to reorganize that the Department of Homeland Security, particularly ISIS. During this period of time, other agencies that are going to be affected it will be FEMA, which is that takes care of the emergency response for the United States, and also the Department of Transportation, which include our airlines and airspace. So these two agencies will be affected if there's no conclusion, there's no resolution, or there's no solution for the issue with the way that the Department of Homeland Security is running ISIS. So that is the next thing. We avoided one problem, but now I believe a more intense problem regarding the issue with how and what is going to be done with ISIS. The United States shot down a drone that was getting close, approaching the area of the Abraham Lincoln carrier in the off the coast of Iran. Irrespective of that, talks are still scheduled to go on in Istanbul regarding the issues about the nuclear facilities and the United States position, military position in response to that.
Of course, these are the latest updates coming from Norman Floyd Barnes from Washington, D.C. And I believe there is a huge debate regarding the U.S. position on various worldwide events. But not only so, there is an event that from the U.S., there's a lot of exposure coming out regarding the Jeffrey Epstein files. Over 20,000 files has been released to the public by the U.S. Department of Justice. And now people are having adverse reactions to some of these revelations, some of these issues. I want to focus on with this issue with Major Dr. Khosrow Samad in the studio. Sir, I am aware, and I'm sure you are aware as well, about who Jeffrey Epstein is. When we take to the social media, we see a lot of conflicting data, conflicting information regarding this disgraced financier of the United States. And some of his interviews are coming to the wide mainstream media. And just to think of it, he has taken his life inside the jail as suicide. But before that, his island issue and, of course, relevance to how he is known by the pop culture, as well as the likes of U.S. President Donald Trump. Your observation regarding this case?
Thank you very much. Let me recapitulate my personal memory. As I said that I was an United Nations peacekeepers in the Africa, in the remote places of the DR Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo,
right,
where we got some people we arrested. They're the cannibals. They eat the human flesh. So we thought, this is Africa, remote places, and the people are illiterate. They are yet to get touch of the civilization. So for them it may be acceptable. But in the 20th century, in the 20,000 to 6, in the most sophisticated and aristocratic, as we claim, as they claim, in the United States, same thing happened. Okay, let me focus the key points, my observation, as you said.
Please.
Number one, as I said, so can we think man take man's flesh, especially underage children, and after what happened, they kill by themselves? And it is one of the perversions. The perversion that interact with the underage children is called the pedophilia, as we know. Right. So medical terminology is one of the forensic point of the view. It is one of the extreme part of the perversion. And said the human takes the human's flesh is called the necrophagia. They also take not only the flesh, they also took the stool. So you see, from our conscience, from our calculation point of view, it is beyond other reach. We cannot think the level of the perversion. Well, now, what does it indicate? Indicate the two things. There is an imbalance between the power and the money. It is in one side, one in the our values, social norms, etiquette, behavior, whatnot rather. So it was proved that for them, they could able to practice the power and the money upon the social values. And still, you might see the one girl who is, what did they said, protectors. They said, I am traumatized, but I am not stupid, she is saying. So, what the Trump said, it is not they are mixing 2 plus 2 equal to 4. There are some things, number one. Number two, as you said, he died, Jeffrey Epstein died in the jail, federal jail, in the 2009. And it was claimed that he committed suicide. Just from the layman point of the view, it is a very sophisticated and very updated jail where every second is being monitored and scrutinized. High voltage light was given, CCTV was on, and it was claimed that I said it was suicide. Okay, fine. Then you show how he committed suicide, and to commit the suicide, you need some of the structures which you get the structure opened and you commit the suicide. So, though there are circumstantial evidence or direct evidence which prove that the death of the Jeffrey Epstein is a case of the suicidal. So, what happened? We are yet to know, but hypothesis proposes that he was killed as he knows the many dirty things and he has the direct proofs. So, it was might be a killing. Number three, it was proved time and time again in his different pages. He write the good things about the Israel. Why? We are yet to prove, or the facts prevails, yet to prove that he was directly the agent of the Mossad, but his positive vision toward the Ehud Barak, who was the previous prime minister, you must be knowing, is very good. But he is a Zionist, and he is fighting against not only the Muslim, rather human touch, but in his language, every word is very colorful and fabricated. Now, why I am focused so? Now, as the Trump and the others, the very powerful person from the UK and throughout the world, not from the politicians, from the intellectual point of view, scientist point of view, and others. What happened? So, they might exploit, and it is called the honey trap, as you know.
Right.
Honey trap. So, honey trap may be happened. So, we are yet to know. Number four, from the religious point of view, very sensitive things was happened.
Yes, of
he
course.
was given a gilaf, you know, the one of the very sophisticated and very sentimental covering of the Kaaba Sharif. And this Kaaba Sharif's gilaf was given to him. Everybody knows what is he. Knowing fully, someone did it and obviously touched the emotional aspects of the Muslim norms, etiquette, behavior, belief, and what not rather. And one another parts from the global point of the view, as they covered and named the Indians Modi.
He appeared, his name came
His
up.
name
Yes.
came. And India said, it is not at all proved. Yes, it might be in the file, but it is not the Bible. it may not be 100% correct, but the motive and intention, it was written before 2009. So the intention was, apparent intention was to write the right things.
Right.
So we are yet to, or India have to prove that really he does not have any relation with the Epstein file. What is their motive? He said, Epstein said, the motive is Indian Prime Minister asked to negotiate him to the United Nations President, that is to the Trump, and having the amicable settlement between the India and the America, because they have the hostility, psychological, due to the presence of the visions of towards the Russia.
Right.
Okay. He
Still
said,
relevant today.
right, till today. He said, that means the file said that he negotiated, that means Trump negotiated to go to the Israel, because if he go to the Israel, he will be happy. So he go into the Israel and he danced. And
that is the claim that came up on the files on regarding Narendra Modi.
You see,
right.
he is half of the country, half of the 1/3 of the total populations of the world is India, and the head of the state was dancing. So mockery is things they have to yet to prove. And last not the least, we are seeing no participation from the Russia, Kim Il-sung from the North America, North Korea, or not from the China. So there is there is a globalizations of the pro-Americans towards the Epstein files.
A very important observation. I have picked this very observation yesterday on yesterday's program, but I want to ask Norman Floyd Barnes regarding one of the fallouts of releasing all of the files regarding Jeffrey Epstein. Former U.S. President Bill Clinton and his wife Hillary Clinton, the former Secretary of State, have agreed to testify in the congressional investigation into this late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, allowing them to avoid being found in contempt of Congress. Of course, they will appear for a deposition on 27th February and Hillary Clinton will appear a day before. I want to ask Norman Floyd Barnes, this is a very eye-opening time, how senior lawmakers of the country are seen complicit in with someone who has caused heinous crimes. So I want to understand what is the fallout. Definitely this time of the year, especially when Donald Trump's policies have been anti-people, anti-state, or as I would like to believe, not in line with the people's focus. I want to understand more from Norman Floyd Barnes.
Yes, this situation with the Epstein files is something that unfortunately human beings been doing over thousands of years. I would say three letters, PPP. It's about power, it's about sex, it's about personal pleasure. Okay, personal pleasure and public power and influence. This is something that we have to realize, that absolute power corrupts. So if you have absolute power, you feel like you can do anything, and your pleasures, your simple pleasures, you feel like you can do it because you make the rules, you are the rules, you're the governing parties. Have you noticed there's been no criminal charges against anyone? The social elites operate at a different level, exposure. Some people get being exposed, some people are losing their office and they're losing their face, but they still have the power. So these activities, even though they are shocking to hear, horrible regarding the use of females, youth, and now the people who've been victimized and involved in the Epstein case, names has been not redacted and they've been exposed. So now they've been victimized again. So this is something that is continuing to go on. Yes, there will be some fallout about this, but the social elites, the powerful, will stay powerful because they rule and they make the rules.
Of course, that is a very important observation, and I believe that the Republican-led House Oversight Committee has asked for the depositions to be filmed and transcribed with no time limit. And of course, in a statement that came out, said that Republicans and Democrats on the Oversight Committee have been clear no one is above the law. Ladies and gentlemen, we were talking about the Epstein files from the U.S., United States of America. Do stay with us as it's time for a short commercial break.
সারা দেশে লাখো মানুষের কঠোর কর্মতৎপরতা ও নিষ্ঠায় এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন 16 কোটি মানুষের হাতের নাগালে। দীর্ঘ 30 বছর ধরে বিশ্বস্ততা ও দ্রুততার সাথে সেবা দেওয়ায় গ্রাহক সেবায় এখন শীর্ষে। বাংলাদেশে গ্রাহক সেবার সাফল্যের পর এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন বিশ্ব বাণিজ্য কেন্দ্র সিঙ্গাপুরে। আপনার যে কোনো পণ্য সিঙ্গাপুর থেকে বাংলাদেশে বুকিং এর জন্য যোগাযোগ করুন। এসএ পরিবহন প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড, লজিস্টিক্স পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস, 22 রবার্টস লেন, সিঙ্গাপুর 218302। ফোন 0065 629 24900। বাংলাদেশ থেকে সিঙ্গাপুরে পণ্য বুকিং এর জন্য যোগাযোগ করুন ঢাকা সহ দেশের যে কোনো 80টি শাখা কেন্দ্রে। এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস, আপনার সেবা সব সময়।
Welcome, Grand Palace Hotel, Dhaka. A majestic lobby blending timeless elegance with modern design. Experience 5-star comfort.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back on International Affairs. In the studio, we have Major Dr. Khosrow Samad as well as Norman Floyd Barnes from Washington, D.C. I had briefly mentioned the U.S. position regarding Iran. And of course, Donald Trump is saying that the U.S. is negotiating with Iran right now. In his very own words, they are negotiating. And Trump had told the reporters at the White House without providing any further details. The remarks came just after a U.S. fighter jet was shot down. The U.S. fighter jet shot down an Iranian drone in the Arabian Sea on Tuesday after it had approached way too close to the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier. I want to begin with Norman Floyd Barnes with a simple question. We see that this escalation is taking a very short, a long-term process. When we look at the Ukraine-Russia war, it is into its 4th year. And of course, the hostilities were very minute in the very first couple of days. The U.S. has Abraham Lincoln moving away from the Pacific into the Persian Sea to the Strait of Hormuz. This is a trying time. As we know that a drone was shot down, which was of course trying to gather information on what was in these Iranian waters. I want to know more from Norman Floyd Barnes. An escalation, may it be very soon or not later. Norman Floyd Barnes.
Yes, with the presence of the naval armada in the region, the possibilities of hostilities are high, extremely high. Just like you mentioned, a drone was shot down. Anything flying around and any engaging ships or whatever creates a possibility of a confrontation. This time it was a drone, maybe a plane next time, maybe a ship, maybe a submarine, it may be a fishing boat. So we are in a high state of emergency. The military are staged in the area. They're ready to go on the aggressive attack. They're not in a protective mode. They are in a attack military role. So they have plans. They have things that they will respond to any aggression, but they have a plan. They're there for a purpose, not to stay still, not to monitor, not to safeguard anything, but they're there for a military mission. And that mission is waiting for the green light to proceed. They have things in place. And the more time we have them sitting in the idle mode, the likelihood of a major confrontation increases. China will be sending ships over there soon. Other countries are moving around. The communication is not very good, and the activities and the potential for a conflict is great. So once something occurs, it's very hard to pull it back. Once you let the cat out the bag or the bullet out the ghost, it has to go forward, and it can't be retracted and pulled back. So it's very sensitive time. The military leaders are very tense right now because they have soldiers ready to and sailors and airmen ready to complete a mission, and they are right now in a staging mode, waiting for to carry out their mission. So we have to be very careful how this thing goes. Yes, negotiations going on, but we have action. We have military people on both sides, very tense, ready to do action, and any type of activity will spark a fight.
Of course, astounding observations from Norman Floyd Barnes. A very important time regarding the Strait of Hormuz, regarding Iran. I want to read out what the U.S. Central Command spokesperson, Captain Tim Hawkins, had said. He said, continued Iranian harassment and threats in international waters and airspace shall not be tolerated. Iran's unnecessary aggression near U.S. forces, regional partners and commercial vessels increase risk of collision, miscalculation and regional destabilization. I want to ask the following question with Dr. Khosrow Samad. This is the start, if not the beginning of a long-term fight. The 22 air bases or the 22 U.S. bases in the region and those separate countries, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, UAE, and all the other nations there, they have, I believe, are going to come out to say, to protect their own individual economies, they must refrain from involving themselves into war or in a state of war. We know, I'll give you an example from a couple of months ago. In Qatar, Israel had issued or targeted Hamas officials who were there for mediation in the capital Doha, and they were targeted by the Israeli forces, causing a huge diplomatic fallout. And immediately so, the Iranian side had bombed the Al Udeid airbase, which is of course holding a lot of American troops. That was the scenario last summer or right afterwards. But now the USS Abraham Lincoln is in position, a huge armada of ships is there, the naval strength is of course posturing and threatening Iran's sovereignty. So I want to ask you, what is your observation given these recent developments?
Well, it was told that if 10 persons together tell a lie, it becomes the truth. It was told by the German spokesman during the reign of the Second World War. What they want to mean? They mean the news which we want to get from the different media. We believe have to media because we don't have any alternatives. But there is the specifically the contradictions and the core content of the same news. If you go to the Voice of America, BBC, ABC, and other newses of the different
including
angles.
Fox News as well.
Fox News as well. So we are yet to know what is the real thing was happening over there. But as a layman calculation, we saw what happened in the Arab Springs. Rather, I say by the name of the Arab Springs, Libya. What was the country, and what is the country? I'm coming to the more updated information. I'm sure you are also saying in that way. Number two, Iraq. Number three, and the allied Egypt, and more or less all the Arab countries. Once, only 20 years back, it was the factors of the world, global point of the view, economic point of the view, social point of the view, they were the factors. But today, by the days coming, it was things become reversed, and only one country, rather the Iran, who having their own backbone to have to speak the truth and to stand in front of the America.
Right.
Well, what is the basic difference between the others and that of the Iran? One, Iran is a very big country, and militarily it is very much occupied, and main thing is that it has the nuclear power. Now, as you say, that they claim, that means America claim, they bombard a drone. So we have to find it. Is it really sent by the Iran? And there is, in between two countries, there is no man's zone. So does it cross the no man's zone? And it is the vicinity of the American structures, military structures. We are yet to know, and they have to tell. That means America have to tell the logic, the behind the gunshot of that drone. Number two, on the Viz, the Iran have to say it, have to prove that the drone has said for the logical purposes. So the coins of the both sides have to prove that their point is logical.
Of course, important regarding all of these issues that you have said, and one that is very up to date. You mentioned about Libya, the North African country, in which the popular dictator, or labeled as a dictator and taken down in history as a dictator, Muammar Gaddafi, his second son Saif al-Islam Gaddafi's killing, said that masked men killed him at his home in Zintan in a cowardly, treacherous assassination. Notice this, that this time it came around regarding Iran and the US, but Libya's news is also making to the social media. I want to have a small comment by Norman Floyd Barnes. I'm sure you were hearing Major Dr. Khosrow Samad in the studio on various issues regarding the Middle East, regarding the Arab Spring, regarding history, in which various leaders of the United States had said there was weapons of mass destruction, if not in Iraq, and if not definitely leaders who were dictators of their own specific countries. The US position in history, of course, is not just regarding Iran as of today. In the pages of history, there's also a lot of information. So I want to have a comment from Norman Floyd Barnes.
Yes, as we move through time, we have noticed, particularly in this situation with the United States, there's always a problem with a solution. Well, let me reverse it. There's a solution for a problem. A lot of these situations, as known as, has been developed, manufactured, and distorted with the intention of creating a response for the solution. So as we move, and we should be watching this very closely, a lot of these incidents, a lot of these confrontations, a lot of these so-called differences are created. And we have to really look at, there's conversation about the situation in Iran. Who stirred them up? Who agitated them? Who gave them information? Who encouraged them? We know that there's a move from the Western side to basically replace the current regime there. So a lot of agitation took place. A lot of things are going on. We now have a military stage out there waiting off the coast of Iran, waiting for them to respond. We're making responses like, any aggression upon our fleet will response. We will have a turbo response for you. Well, if that situation was reversed, what do you expect from the United States if that should occur to us? So by being in the area, you sometimes agitates the hornet's nest. Being there, being involved, being whatever, you will get a response. Unfortunately, this response that is being anticipated may not be the one we want, and it may lead to a more regional instability and more conflict than solutions. So every solution may not have a problem that can be resolved with the manufactured solution. So it may be something different. There may be a miscalculation. There may be things that we don't know about occur. And we have to be very careful how we look at things, how we respond, how we speak to people, and how we treat people. So let's wait and see how this thing plays out. Hopefully, cool heads will prevail as long as we are fighting. So keep the communication going on, and hopefully cool heads will come to terms, and a solution to this conflict in the Middle East and other parts of the world will come to a solution, because we're seeing with the situation with Russia and Ukraine, that was supposed to be an overnight situation. Well, we're going on 4 years now with no solution. Gaza's still up in place. Now we got the situation with Venezuela. We got situation in Africa, the situation in Greenland. All these things are open-ended, no solutions. So starting with the agitation of these areas, dealing with the different governments to get a response, so far it hasn't panned out. It hasn't gone to the favor of the ones who want change to happen. So again, as long as we are talking, communicating, we're not fighting and we're not killing each other. So hopefully we are learning through this process, or still, instead of repeating what we've been doing for thousands of years.
Beautiful observation by Norman Floyd Burns. I must definitely thank you for his valuable time on this program, as I believe he may be disconnected very shortly. I want to have a short comment from Major Dr. Khosrow Samad, and there is some updates regarding the Middle East as far as the Israel-Palestine conflict is concerned. The spokesperson for the Palestine Red Crescent Society has told the international media that the evacuation of patients and wounded via the Rafah crossing has been cancelled for today. At least 18 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli attacks across Gaza today, including 11 in the Al-Tufa and Al-Zaytun areas of Gaza City. The Israeli army says one of its officers has been critically wounded in northern Gaza after its soldiers were shot at earlier today. And the Israel-Palestine director of Human Rights Watch has resigned in protest, saying the organization's new chief blocked a report accusing Israel of committing crimes against humanity in its denial of Palestinian refugees' right of return. Very short comment, as you are a doctor, the human fallout regarding this issue and the unable lifestyle choices that they'll having to make, not being able to lead a proper life. What is your observation before we go on a short break?
The Palestinian issues?
Yes, Palestine-Israel issues.
Every life is equally life. He might be Palestine, he might be American, he might be Bangladeshi, whatever the things may be. But what is going to happen over there? It is brought the light. Clearly, they stopped the border. Naturally, the medical personnel who having the without border, you might have the known, they are trying to reach, to give the at least Medicare support, at least to the children. But as you described very specifically, so I don't go to the detail, in a nutshell, the thing is that the injured person, injured children cannot get the medicine. So this is the worst possible scenario. So we need at least medical person, which is the last demand of a human being, it should be to reach to the victim children at least.
Of course, with almost 80,000 deaths and counting, this remains to be the most genocidal event of this century. Ladies and gentlemen, this is being a very interesting debate topic as of today, but do stay tuned as we head for another short commercial break.
And rooms. Sophisticated fine dining restaurant. Crystal clear swimming pool for ultimate relaxation. Modern gym and serene spa for well-being. Perfect venue for corporate events, weddings and parties. Seamless and secured, elegant and eye-catching design. Indulge, relax, discover the first 5-star chain hotels in Bangladesh. Grand Palace Hotel Dhaka, 22 Kakrail, Dhaka, Bangladesh.
Welcome to Grand Club at Mirpur 10 Dhaka. Elegant spa and wellness facility for ladies and gents. Play pool and snooker in international standard billiard zone. World-class gym facility with exclusive equipment for man and woman. A restaurant of delicious local and international.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back on International Affairs. I was joined by Norman Floyd Barnes from Washington, D.C. and in the studio we have Major Dr. Khosrow Samad, who I want to have a very simple question regarding a news element that is not reaching enough of attention, the killing of Saif al-Islam Gaddafi, son of Muammar Gaddafi. Alongside, there is an interesting news regarding Pakistan and its Balochistan province. The UN Security Council condemns deadly terror attacks in Pakistan, Balochistan, that killed 48 people, including 31 civilians. I believe that these terrorist attacks have been accredited to the Balochistan Liberation Army, who has claimed responsibility for these deadly terrorist attacks. I want to get an overview from Major Dr. Khosrow Samad.
Let me focus the previous one for
Sure.
a couple of the minutes. That means the Libya's issue.
Sure.
So it was a case of the assassination. How it comes? It was told that he was sleeping in his residence. The residence was close to the Algerian borders, and it was a routine phenomenon. He used to sleep. It's nothing new. 4 gunmen entered. They put on the mask, so it was not identified. They switched off the lights and CCTV. Then they fired upon and ensured when Saif died, then they fled away. Till now, none claimed either the credit or the liabilities of this killing. But as you said, it's an assassination. Let me go back to the history of the assassinations of the geopolitical aspects. Go focus of the nearby neighboring country, India. Nathuram Godse killed Gandhi. Then second one, Rajiv Gandhi was killed. Indira Gandhi was killed. So 3 legacy. And both of the killings, Indira Gandhi was killed by her own
Bodyguards. Sikh bodyguards.
Sikh bodyguards. It doesn't mean that the bodyguard has the access to enter his close privacy. And he was bodyguard since 30 years. So he was the most trusted person. So he was killed. She was killed by the most trusted person, and Rajiv Gandhi was killed by Malini, a girl or lady. He was to give the floral wreath, and she killed him. Right. So there is no personal hostility between the Malini and the Rajiv Gandhi due to the political issues. Now you come to the Pakistan. There, same thing happened. Benazir was killed, and it was forecasted. It was told, Benazir, don't come to the Pakistan. The time does not favor you. You should come to the later on. But she told, if you know the killer, why don't you tell us? And she overlooked the forecast of their Pakistani army, Pakistani military intelligence and other intelligence report. And she entered, and the very first day she came and she was assassinated. So Pakistan, India, same about Bandar Naik in the Sri Lanka. If you go back to the global, in Zaire, Patrick Lumumba, then if you go to the even to the Russia, then Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov Lenin, and even to the USA, the what do they say?
I think Kennedy.
Junior John F. Kennedy.
John F. Kennedy,
So
yes.
from the UK to that, there is every precedence of the assassination. And till now, what about the Bangladesh I should not tell. Everybody knows.
The
and
very first
experience-
World War was because of an assassination as well.
Exactly. So our experience in the Bangladesh also not soothing, is also painful. I don't want to focus because that is not our concern. And so you see there is a series of the legacy of the blood and the legacy of the assassination. And till now, we are yet to got the exact focus or exact cause of this series of the assassination. So our focus, let us see where the Saif's death having the good conclusion, and we should want to see whoever the killer. Killing is killing. If he fight against the human being, it should be taken to the court and should be proved by killing. in his bedroom, it is not the solution. Okay, now you focus on the Pakistan, the closed door neighbors. We focus about the Balochistan
issue.
But
yes.
there is the geopolitical basic difference between the neighboring countries. As we know, in 1947, Lord Mountbatten has divided this territory into two halves by the point of view of the religion. Likely, these two differentiation is the only one examples to divide the geopolitics by the name of the religion.
Yes.
I am yet to know to the other divisions of the others happen or not. Well, soon after the 1947 of the two different issues, we saw that the series of the events which happened to the Pakistan, which difference in the fundamental point of view. What happened? In the Pakistan, the regimes was direct military invasion, one after another. Series, direct military invasions. And till now, till today, we see there are changes of the military regime by giving the 4-star general to the 5-star general, that is Munir Asim, who is the chief of the army staff,
Yes,
and
what
given,
is that?
it's one examples, because there are some criteria to give the field marshal. It is not the desire of any country who can give the rank.
Of course.
There are some criteria. One of the criteria, the armaments, the quantity of the soldiers, quantity of the officers, previous victories, and others. It is said they violated the criteria and given him to the Munir Asim, the field marshal rank. Why so? Why so? During this time, we saw there is a conflict between the India and the Pakistan, direct armament, that means direct operations. Hostilities. And it's a gunshot injury was there. And we saw two smart captains came to the focus. One is the lady was there, and they are saying there are some points in favor of their countries.
Right.
So, in the present perspective, Pakistan and India both are facing multi-sectorial problems. And both of the countries having the topogeographical, the same structure. It doesn't mean the Pakistan is not homogeneous country like the Bangladesh. There are few differences between the Noakhali and Dhaka, few differences between the Dhaka people and the Dinajpur people. But the Balochistan and the Kashmir and the other states absolutely differ from the cultures, topogeography, attitude, the locality, and others. Since 1970, when the Bangladeshi also fighting against the Pakistani rulers, that times the Balochistan Liberation Army was formed. What is their motive? They clearly said the Balochistan is not the part of the Pakistan, so they are the sovereign for themselves. But naturally, Pakistani ruler did not agree. But the huge armaments, training, military invasions, weapon, and many things is needed to fight against the Pakistani troops. But it was more or less stopped. But a couple of the years it was again came, and as you said, the 4-star, 5-star army was fighting against the Balochistan. It is not a matter of the joke. But the heinous killing, we cannot support any brutally killing. Only solution is that, if you say as a military personnel, is a solution is the political. Gunman and shooting and the killing is not a solution at all.
Aggression is, of course, not the language of geopolitics, as I believe. Very wonderful observations. Sir, I want to have a very last question regarding human health care and the recent rise of Nipah virus outbreaks in our neighborhood countries, as well as some suspected reports of it in Bangladesh, and people are scared to go around. This disease does not have any kind of vaccine, any kind of prevention methodology or mechanisms. I want to understand the medical impact that it has on its people before we can end the show.
Thank you very much. Really, it is a very specific item. Nipah virus is a virus. So, we are yet to get any medicine against the virus, like the COVID, like the Zika virus, like the other viruses. So, we are yet to get specific antiviral drug. So, if the virus, someone is attacked, more or less the treatment is ineffective and fate is very bad. The percentage of the fatality is more than 70%. So, Nipah virus is one of the very notorious virus, I may say. Now, how it transmits? Its transmission is absolutely different from the others. It's a zoonotic disease. Zoonotic means the disease comes from the animal. So,
yes.
the bat, colloquially language is a badur. So, it takes the a dead
Date
tree,
palm tree, yes.
dead water comes in a specific period and the winter, while it is taking the juice, they mixture it, even they get the stool and their saliva also incorporated with this fluid. So when it takes, the rat was carrier of the Nipah virus, but he is not affected. So naturally, when it takes, it got the contamination. And if someone takes, he might be infected.
Of course.
So solution is only one. Yes, solution is there. The water should be boiled up to the boiling temperature or transformed to the other formation of the sweet meat.
Of course, this is very important regarding this issue. And I believe you are a doctor of pharmacology, and that is exactly why I asked you this question. But most definitely, I must thank Major Dr. Khosrow Samad for his valuable insight and contributions to international affairs. Alongside, I must also thank Norman Floyd Barnes for joining me on the studio through Zoom. Ladies and gentlemen, as I draw a closure, today is February the 4th, which is globally recognized as World Cancer Day, an initiative by the Union for International Cancer Control to raise awareness, improve education, and catalyze personal, collective, and government action to reimagine cancer cure. And also alongside this issue, today is February the 4th, 2026. But in this day, back in 2004, the Facebook was initially founded by Mark Zuckerberg while at Harvard University. That's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. I shall see you all on tomorrow's program.